The NBA might be based in a free country, but it's not exactly free. Players are bound by expensive and lengthy contracts, and the NBA can make up pretty much whatever rules they want, whether players like it or not. Some of these rules have been highly controversial over the years. Others are just straight weird. Here are some of the absolute weirdest NBA bans that you probably didn't know exist. In 2009, Miami Heat superstar Dwayne Wade received a small cut under his eye during a game. Like most normal people would, Wade spent the next few days wearing a Band-Aid over the cut. The problem for Wade was that he's a multi-million-dollar athlete whose face appears on national TV every night. So, rather than go with a regular brown Band-Aid or a Hello Kitty Band-Aid, he decided to create his own. This was probably inspired by the rapper Nelly, who famously wore a white bandage on his face for style purposes. Wade's Band-Aid caught on. Soon, other celebrities such as rapper Lil Wayne were seen wearing the same Band-Aid in the same spot. Wade continued wearing various Band-Aids even after his eye had healed. The whole thing was a lighthearted, meme-worthy trend, and everyone was enjoying it. Well, everyone except for the NBA. The league contacted Wade and told him he wasn't allowed to wear the Band-Aids anymore. An NBA spokesman named Tim Frank explained the rules, saying, "A player can wear a Band-Aid for healthcare purposes, but it shouldn't have any name or identifications on it." He went on to emphasize that you can't wear an identifiable Band-Aid. This is one of the dumbest and most embarrassing things I've ever heard the league say in a public statement. Apparently, they all forgot that Band-Aids are a brand. Saying that you're allowed to wear a Band-Aid, but not an identifiable one, is like saying you're allowed to wear Nike sneakers, just not identifiable ones. Frank was a spokesperson whose job was to make the NBA look good, but he achieved exactly the opposite. The ruling became a huge controversy. Many people couldn't believe what a big deal the league made out of such a minor thing. It also seemed pretty obvious that the real reason for the ban was that the NBA thought Wade was going to build a successful brand outside of his contract. As the saying goes, follow the money. Back in 2004, iPods were new, but since the dawn of time, basketball players have loved listening to music while they warm up. It helps them get in rhythm, and it can set their attitude for the game ahead. In 2004, it was a mind-blowing idea that you could have a tiny device in your pocket that would play music for you and you alone while you were on the court. NBA players took to it quickly, most notably Vince Carter, who at the time was one of the most popular and talented players in the league. Before long, NBA warm-ups were full of iPods. Now, one thing we all know about Apple is that they are obsessed with branding. Steve Jobs was famous for forcing his employees to design the inside of Mac computers to look really nice, even though nobody ever sees them. When he and Steve Wozniak were coming up with the design for the iPod, they put in a lot of effort to design the earbuds to be extremely distinctive. They also paid advertisers in film, TV, and magazines to start using their white earbuds in people's outfits just to start a fashion trend. But once again, the NBA caught a whiff of this fashion trend and immediately gagged. As crazy and as stupid as it sounds today, it really is true. In 2004, the NBA issued a ban on earbuds. As far as we know, it was said to be a ban on all earbuds, regardless of which kind. But most people were able to read between the lines and see it was really targeted at iPods and their distinctive white earbuds. Vince Carter was particularly outspoken about the ban. He said, "It's gonna hurt my routine big time. I like to listen to music when I'm working out, doing all that. That was my chance to kind of relax yet focus in. I focus in when I have music on." This was another hugely controversial rule. Carter's pleas had no effect. Clearly, the NBA was focused on not providing any free advertising for Apple, and they didn't care how it affected their image or players' ability to perform. If the NBA's goal was to stop Apple products from becoming popular, they obviously failed completely. In the long run, they also failed to stop players from wearing earbuds or warming up. Almost all of them do it now. I don't know whether they changed the rule back or just gave up trying to enforce it. Either way, it was a bad look for the league back in 2004, and it looks even worse now. NBA players are usually just as big of fans as we are. What's a more universal thing for a basketball fan to wear than a jersey of their favorite player? Fans do it all the time. But if you think about it, you never really see players themselves do it. Why not? Turns out, it's because it's strictly against the rules. In 2005, the NBA issued a league-wide ban on any and all throwback jerseys. If any player showed up to a game or any NBA-related event wearing any jersey that wasn't their own, they would be fined. This was a huge deal, because jerseys were, and still are, a huge part of hip-hop culture. Many players felt like they were simply being told they couldn't dress how they felt comfortable dressing. The excuse that Commissioner David Stern gave was also somewhat less than understandable. He blamed Malice at the Palace, the infamous player versus fan brawl that happened a couple years earlier. He said that the ban was in order to make sure that type of thing would never happen again. If you're wondering what throwback jerseys have to do with NBA players fighting fans, you're not alone. Nobody, including the Players Union, had any idea what Stern was talking about. Stern went even further. He wrote up a specific dress code, not only telling players what not to wear, but telling them what to wear as well. And his taste was pretty much what you'd expect from a dorky old white dude like him. Players had to wear collared shirts, khaki pants, and dress shoes. Stern had millionaire sports stars showing up to work like they were still trying to get an interview. This ultra strict and weird rule didn't go over well with anybody, least of all Allen Iverson. Iverson felt like he had been especially targeted by the rule. He said later on that they were picking on me then, obviously. The dress code lasted for years and was an ongoing source of controversy. But when players started to rack up more and more high-end sponsorships from expensive brands like Gucci and Rolex, suddenly Commissioner Stern started rethinking his dress code. Like Mr. Krabs, he completely 180'd and decided that not only could players wear expensive sponsored clothes, they should. As you may have noticed by now, a lot of these rules have the same single reason behind them. I'll give you a hint. It's the color green. I don't know about you, but I've never seen an NBA player drinking through a straw on the bench. While I guess it doesn't really surprise me, there's actually a reason for it. It's against the rules. The NBA banned straws because of one man, Ron Butler. For reasons beyond common understanding, Butler used to have an addictive habit of chewing on straws during games. This earned him the nickname, the Straw Man, and it also earned him constant roasting, even from his own teammates including Dirk Nowitzki. Butler would actually show up to the arena with a fistful of straws as if he had just swiped them from a diner. Throughout the game, he would unwrap them one by one with a wild look in his eye, chomping them piece by piece. Before we get too judgmental, let's not forget that Steph Curry, one of the game's all-time great players, also likes to chew on a piece of plastic throughout the game. It's just a nervous habit that some guys never grow out of. However, what made Butler unique was that people were concerned he would actually choke on the straw. I mean, he's running around the court playing basketball at the professional level. How safe is it really to have a damn straw in your mouth the whole time? The NBA asked themselves the same question and decided they'd rather not find out. In 2010, straws were banned from NBA benches. Butler was forced to quit his habit cold turkey, which, if you've ever had a habit like this, you know was probably a legit hard thing to deal with. The same spokesman from before, Tim Frank, once again was put in charge of explaining the rule to the public. This time, he made much more sense. It's a safety issue, period. I gotta say, this is the first ban that I actually understand from the NBA's perspective. But it's so weird, it's so random, it's hard to believe it's really true. But it really is. Next time you're watching the NBA, look for straws. Let us know if you see one. The NBA has never outright banned headbands, but they do have some absurdly strict rules about how players are supposed to wear them. Just ask Rajon Rondo. In 2010, the same year the league banned straws, they issued another weirdly specific rule about headbands that was almost certainly aimed at Rondo. Rondo was playing for the Boston Celtics at the time, and at one point, he wore his green headband upside down. Now first off, it's a headband. There's barely such a thing as upside down or right side up. You just put it on. Rondo probably didn't even do it on purpose, and it's hard to imagine many people even noticed. But with his thick glasses, Commissioner Mr. Krabs was able to pick up on tiny little details other people couldn't, like the fact that his beloved NBA logo was turned the wrong way. This was simply too much for the commissioner to handle. He immediately called out Rondo for misrepresenting the league and updated the league's uniform code. It was now totally against the rules to wear your headband upside down. Once again, fans and players around the country couldn't believe it. This insanely strict and petty rule made no sense. Are you really worried that the logo on the headband is going to negatively affect the NBA's branding? How many people are going to watch an NBA game and not realize they're watching the NBA just because one player has his headband upside down? It could be the silliest rule I've ever heard. Plus, the whole point is to protect the league's integrity and public image, right? Instead, it made David Stern look like a fool with OCD. It also continued the idea that players and executives were enemies working against each other rather than partners in the same organization. This one will blow your mind. Matthew Dellavedova is a short, chubby white dude in his 30s, and like any short, chubby white dude, he has special medical needs in order to play basketball without hurting himself. Seriously, it's no joke. Dellavedova has previously worn a special wristband called a Whoop, which monitors his heart rate, blood pressure, and other vitals. It's similar to a Fitbit or an Apple Watch, and honestly, it makes total sense for an athlete to wear. Keep in mind, virtually all NBA players hire world-class trainers who rely on these stats to do their jobs effectively. Dellavedova was obviously using the wristband to get stats that would help him improve his game, but that didn't fly with the NBA. In 2016, Commissioner Adam Silver apparently spent a lot of time in his space pod watching humanoid films about James Bond. Silver realized that Dellavedova could be a spy working for the Russians, and that his strange blinking wristband might actually be a weapon that could be used against opponents. As fast as he could, Silver flew back into Earth's atmosphere, and with the help of an Earthling translator, told Dellavedova he could either ditch the wristband or be zapped with a death ray. Dellavedova surrendered, and Silver blasted off into orbit again. LeBron James will obviously never be banned from the NBA. The league has paid him more money than any other player in history. However, even he isn't immune to random rules and bans. In 2014, Serge Ibaka broke LeBron's nose during a dive to the basket. There was blood everywhere. LeBron was clearly in pain. Real pain this time too. It was awful. Like any player, LeBron had to wear a mask for the next several games while his nose continued to heal. But LeBron apparently made a big mistake because he chose a black mask. For some reason, the league was outraged by this. Maybe in addition to James Bond, Commissioner Silver was also watching a lot of Batman movies. Maybe he was worried because the league wasn't sponsored by DC Comics. Or maybe Adam Silver just doesn't like Batman. Either way, boom, banned. LeBron was ordered to find himself a clear mask, which would expose his identity, or the whole city would turn against him. It's likely that in the dead of night on some rooftop, that masked LeBron met with NBA announcer Jim Barnett after Barnett projected the Miami Heat logo into the sky. Barnett probably told LeBron that the city needed him now more than ever, and that he should take off his mask. LeBron agreed, and the very next game, he showed up with a new clear mask. LeBron only wore the black mask for one game, a home game against the Knicks, which Miami won by almost 30. James was the leading scorer with 31, scoring even more than his teammate Dwayne Wade, who had 23.